Um, I'm Don Marie. I'm stuttering today. I'm Don Marie Solis with EQ Solutions and Neuro Awesome Life, and I am over the moon, privileged and happy to be talking with Justin Tate. I found Justin online. He does content around Tourette's and is the coolest bike trick. It's a BMX bike, right?
Yes, BMX.
That's awesome. Yeah. So it's really cool content, and I've learned so much. I've needed to understand Tourette's to a certain extent because of myself and family members having tic disorders. But Justin, you have, I think you have added so beautifully and brilliantly to the knowledge base that's out there in the world. So I've been really grateful for what you do. And I want everybody to know that this is just a really beautiful human, and the tics are their own creature, right, Justin? They're just gonna do what they're gonna do. And we're just gonna have a nice conversation that's loving and real, and it's gonna be okay. Yeah.
That's nice to meet you in person.
Thanks. Yeah, I've been excited about this. When I follow people online, I tend to feel like a lot of love. And so it's really nice when I can meet somebody that I come to care about, actually meet them. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I love the technology that allows us to do this. It's cool.
Absolutely. Do you want to try to tell a little bit of your story?
Sure.
I think I understand that this level of ticking has not always been with you.
That's right. It's the last 2 years has been this severe, but before it's gotten worse as I've gotten older. But a lot of Tourette's people seem to be worse in childhood and lessen as they get older, but there are a lot of us who it gets worse with age. I've met others like me and with similar stories where it was kind of mild through my teenage years, and then it got worse in my 20s, and then it got even worse in my 30s. So, but I'm definitely not the only one that's happened to. You're a bitch. Good for you. Okay. Yeah, it was. But so, yeah, what would you like to know? Just the
part of what I'm interested in personally is your decision to start sharing your journey on social media.
So that's only been in the last year, but before that I was just sharing RC car and BMX biking stuff. But a year ago I decided to start sharing about Tourette's. That's because of the way misunderstandings, when people misunderstand Tourette's, they have treated me and my family really badly as a result. And so, and it was happening within my former church community. A lot of discrimination and lies and rumors and really bad stuff. But so that's what caused us to realize we need to make the world around us more aware, my wife and I, more aware and understanding of Tourette's, so that I can survive and thrive in this world, and also help others who are struggling as well. So it just became very important to us to teach people about it, and particularly the copro phenomena, which is you're a bitch, good for you. Can I lick your asshole? That'd be great. Okay. The inappropriate, vulgar, socially inappropriate, and derogatory tics, that's what we really want to raise awareness about, because there are a lot of people talking about normal Tourette's, but a small percentage of us have this copro phenomena, which is just a nightmare sometimes and can make it very difficult to be anywhere around people. So so it was a result of people treating us badly that we wanted to raise awareness so that it wouldn't happen to other people. Okay.
I'm really grateful to you and your family for
Okay.
doing that. It requires a type of resilience that I think not a lot of us have. I mean, to be out there online, you know, I follow a content creator who does coaching for ADHD. And she posted a few days ago that her brother had passed away. And the very first comment was, do you have advice for grief? Right? No compassion for her, no like, not leaving her alone, just immediately a request. And that's sort of the gentle version of what those of us who put ourselves out there get. You know, there I've seen some really not okay comments on some of your posts. And do you take any of that personally? Does it just roll off of you? Is it just like, well, that's the world? How does that go for you?
Usually I'm pretty good at not letting that stuff bother me, like the people that call me fake. Because honestly, it's usually kids who don't know any better, and they're just, and so how I usually respond is just, can I answer any questions for you to help you understand Tourette's better? And usually, often they'll come back and actually apologize after that. It's like it diffuses them. They realize, oh, whoa, this is a real person, and he actually responds. And so the only time it really bothered me once was when it was another person with Tourette's who was calling me fake. That one kind of hurt, but yeah, I've learned to get used to it because I know there's always going to be people who think it's not real. But I found a good way to deal with it by responding, by offering to answer questions. It usually works. But
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a way of being part of this advocacy journey that I think it would benefit all of us to do more of. And you know, because those comments can really hurt, and especially when you know you're doing what you're doing because the world just does not understand. The fact that you have the grace and compassion to call somebody into conversation if they're interested. And if they're not interested, then how much can their comments really mean?
And that's a lesson I've learned over the last maybe 8-10 years with all the political everything, you know, society has gotten just at each other's. Through all of that, I learned a great lesson that I believe it's possible to end any conversation on a good note and become, so even if you start a conversation totally disagreeing on everything and angry or whatever, it's always possible to end friends and like friendly if both of you are willing to try to see it from their perspective and just talk it. Like, it's not easy, but I found that it is always possible to end on a good note if you put in the effort. So I try to do that. But
I love that
more than just getting angry. So okay.
And I think just in the heart that you just showed and what you just said is what really drew to me when I found you originally. Is that your brain is making your mouth and body do these things that you don't want it to do, but you still manage to show who you are through all of it. I deal with chronic pain. I deal with sensory issues, so many sensory issues. To do this video and to not look completely dead, I have to have this really bright light right here. And that means that by the time you and I are done, I'll probably have a migraine. So like these things that we do, right? To be in the world, to do the things we want to do. It's not without cost.
It's for sure.
But most of what people see is a little bit of a polished version of
Mm-hmm.
us.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And I'm really grateful you've been willing to not be
Show us
so,
it. What? Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
not be so polished.
Okay.
Um,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
because we've got to make the world into a place where we all belong.
Uh-huh.
I'm on a
Yeah.
big kick to move beyond inclusion.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Inclusion to me sounds like I own the space and I suppose you can be here too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's just icky to me. I don't want that. I want you and I to exist in the world with equal value,
Yeah.
equal everything,
Okay.
right? To
I agree.
have an
Okay.
equitable experience in life.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
And I have sensory challenges. So, like, you and I being in a room for 2 hours together might be very hard for me
Mm-hmm.
because I get noise. I get
Mm-hmm.
noise is a challenge for me. But me being in the room with you for 2 hours would be hard because your brain's gonna want to say crappy
Yeah.
things to me.
Okay. Yeah. It's like if I'm alone, I'm much more calm. I'm not
Right.
like this crazy ticking all the time. I'm much more calm when I'm alone. So, but it's true. But I know what you mean. But
And you,
okay.
when I first reached out to you and said, "Hey, do you want to do a conversation?"
But
That was a really hard decision for you because you're
mm-hmm.
going to have to go through all of this just to talk to me.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it took a
Right?
while to gear up for it. But
Yeah, it's
okay.
at best it's exhausting.
But okay. You're a bitch. Good for you. Okay. Yeah.
Does
But
the
okay.
You don't have to answer any question you don't want to. So I'll ask questions and you can
But
decide if you want to answer them
sure,
or
ask anything.
not.
I'm pretty. But okay.
Because of some of my physical challenges, different movements can lock
But
my neck, spasm my muscles, things like that.
okay.
If I ticked like you did, the amount of pain I would be in
But okay.
might feel not survivable.
Yeah.
How does it
But
affect you
but
physically?
but so it can cause pain. Luckily, it doesn't cause severe pain very often for me. I used to, even when my ticks weren't as bad, like over the last 10 years, I usually it would be like 2 to 3 times a year. Maybe my ticks would get bad enough to where it would cause a lot of soreness, and it would be on in some random part of my body. It would be my eyes or my neck or an arm, wherever it is, because of the repeating the same movement thousands of times a day. And then the next day you want to just rest so it can heal, but you keep doing the same movement, and it can prolong the pain for weeks at a time. But luckily, like I said, that only happens maybe 2 3 times a year for a few weeks at a time, and then it's so I don't often have that kind of pain, but there's minor pains all the time. Like my eyes have been bothering me the last few days, more eye ticks than usual.
Yeah.
So, and I used to have a tick where I had to punch myself in the gut. That one
Oh,
hurt. I'm glad that one didn't last too long. But so,
yeah.
but
Yeah. That
but
would be rough.
the way it
Um,
can be different. One is like that I hate is sometimes in the checkout stand waiting to pay. Like for example, I was at a Hobby Lobby waiting to pay, and they have those little bars that stuff is hanging on, and I had to snap my fingers and press my hand against the metal bar, and it was starting to tear my skin. And the line was taking forever, but there's nothing I could do. I just kept having to do it. I'm like, please move the line along because this hurts. It can be stuff like that. And I don't know. So yeah, but some people have worse pain than me. Like you said, if with your other conditions combined, it would be much worse. So yeah, but it's interesting how Tourette's interacts with other coexisting conditions that can cause more problems. But okay, yeah, but okay,
so you said the last 2 years it's really ramped up. Do you
yeah,
feel like there was
but
some kind of event
mm,
or trauma
but
or something that kicked that into
yeah,
gear?
but Yeah, stress always increases your ticks, like the severity and frequency. In a short term, like moment to moment, stress can make ticks worse, but also I think stress is what caused a lifelong increase in ticks. So it first happened when I was 26 and I was working as a mortician in funeral homes, and the stress was unimaginable, like
Mhm.
75 hours a week working plus on call 24 hours, getting 3 hours of sleep on average. Just that job was literally killing me. And I think it was that job that caused, because as soon as I abandoned that career, I was like, I literally will die if I stay in this job. Because I was falling
Yeah.
asleep at the wheel while driving bodies at
Mhm.
3 a.m. It's like, so I abandoned that career, never looked back. But during that unemployment of looking for another job, that's when my ticks got worse. It's as soon as I left funeral service. So I see it as the high stress from that job is what I think caused it. But so that's when I was diagnosed at age 26, when my ticks became much more noticeable. I could not hide it anymore. And then 8 or 9 years later, another high stress job working in a chemical laboratory with very dangerous chemicals and but very high stress work that triggered again my ticks to skyrocket out of control. And the Copra phenomena, the swearing and vulgar ticks, it literally started in an instant. I remember the exact moment where I was when it happened. It just started like that. And I again attribute it to the high stress job. That's all I can think of.
Yeah.
But it started and it's never been the same. It's just continued to steadily increase over the last 2 years since then. But okay.
Well,
So
I mean, please correct me if I'm wrong. I I would feel like the ticks themselves would become the cycle of the stress, right?
mm-hmm,
Oh, I just
yeah.
said a thing that embarrasses me that I don't like.
Okay.
I'm uncomfortable. More stress. Oh, good. More ticks. More stress.
Mm-hmm.
More ticks.
Yeah,
Um, uh,
exactly. Mm,
it's like being
okay,
caught
but
in a whirlpool that you can't get out of.
yeah, and that's
Um,
why I often have these panic attacks or tick attacks, we call them, in grocery stores or places like that. But because I suddenly find myself surrounded by people and I just break down. I have to close my eyes, block my ears, just almost fall on the ground sometimes. And at those times, I have had to learn coping techniques to save myself from those panic attacks. Whether it's I had a friend who works at the pharmacy in the store, so I would run to her and I can talk to her and she would calm me down. Or I had other weird techniques that could help calm me down in those situations. So yeah, you're right. The ticks themselves just make the stress and a vicious cycle that just gets worse and worse. But okay,
I think it was last month
sure, okay.
you chose to post a video, and I think you and your wife had quite the conversation about whether to post it or not,
Mm-hmm. But
where a new
okay,
tick tried to emerge. You have
oh yeah,
a throwing tick, right? Where you
mm-hmm.
like anything that's near
Yeah,
you is getting tossed.
uh-huh.
And she was
Okay,
filming when one of those came
okay,
on, and you
uh-huh.
ran out of things to toss.
Yeah,
Um, and I don't want to say too much because I don't. Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
I don't want to trigger something.
yeah. It's
Um,
a but
but
okay,
emerging ticks are things I think people don't know really anything about. Is that it's not like
yeah, but
you're pre-assigned a set
okay,
of ticks and that's all you have forever. Amen.
but okay,
New ones can show
yeah,
up and take over.
okay,
Uh,
but
you
okay.
talked a little bit about your experience in that video of the fear you felt.
Okay,
Like, oh my
uh-huh.
gosh, can we please not
Okay,
have this one? Right, this one's going to go
mhm,
really badly in public.
yeah,
This
yeah,
one's going to right the
yeah,
immediate onslaught of
okay,
fear when that
but
tick tried to emerge. Do you
yeah,
want to talk a little bit
but
about that?
sure, yeah. I'm glad you asked because not many people have asked about that kind of thing when a tick forms. It's interesting because I have seen many ticks form, and sometimes it's completely random, just quick out of nowhere, and it's meaningless. Like I hear a person say, hamburger on the TV, and I have to say hamburger. It was a Tourette's person that was saying that, and my brain mimics other people's tics.
Right.
But in some cases, it's a really big deal. I can feel the tic coming on, trying to form, and at first, sometimes I'm able to suppress it, but it just keeps bothering me until I can't resist it anymore, and then it becomes a tic. And so there are a few that have happened like that. The one in the example you mentioned was, yeah, I have these tics where I have to throw things. I'll throw my phone, my wallet. It's usually my wallet. Like if I'm at the bank or somewhere, I'll throw my wallet across the room at the wall. And sometimes when I run out of things to throw, yeah, in that video, I ran out of things to throw, and the next thing I could think of was my shirt. So I almost pulled my shirt off and threw it. And I was able to stop myself in that case because it was like the first time. And I've only done that one other time. It was the other day I had to do that where I actually did. So who knows how more common that could become. But other ones was my first time swearing, when the Copro phenomena started. I had never said a swear word in my whole life because of my religious upbringing. Like 35 years, never said fuck or shit or anything like that. And out of nowhere, I had the urge to say fuck. I was in my office with my coworkers right before work was over. I had the intense urge to say fuck, but I was stopping it. That day, I was able to stop it. I would just say fuck, fuck, fuck. I wouldn't finish the word, fuck. And the whole day I went like that. I was fighting it like hell. Could not, it was awful the whole day. And then the next morning I was fighting it again. But when I got to work, I tried to start working in the lab and I couldn't focus. It was so intense. I could not stop it. I knew I have to just say the stupid word. It was the first time saying it in my whole life. And so I grabbed my coworker that I trusted. And I was like, I know this is stupid, but my tics, I have to say this word. So I said it. And I said fuck, and then it came out like a storm, where I said it like 1,000 times just for the next couple minutes, just saying fuck, 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 fuck. It was like so intense. And that continued for the next 2 to 3 days. I was saying this word thousands of times a day until maybe 3 days later, it was starting to settle down to where it was only hundreds of times a day and a more normal level of tick, fuck me. Now it's much less like, yeah, but at first it was very intense. And so it's interesting how the first day I was able to suppress it by just not finishing the word, just partial tic. But then a couple weeks later is when the gesture started, the middle finger. And to summarize the story, someone at church was talking about the hands of God, and they were doing this big long speech.
Oh no.
Every time they said the word hands, because they started off by telling a story of when they wanted to flip someone off, and my hand immediately went like this. And to stop it, to suppress it, because I knew in that instant, I knew what was happening. I slapped my hand like this and never let the finger come up. But she kept saying the word hands like dozens.
No.
Every single time I'd slap my hand to stop it. My wife and I were laughing, and the old lady over there was glaring at us for making noise. And so we went out of the building and we're like laughing, and we calmed down, and then we thought it would be over. So we went back in, and she was still going. She said that stupid word hand like a dozen or more times more, and every time. So anyway, it wasn't until a few days later that it came out again, and I actually let my finger up for the first time. So yeah, that's another example where at first I was able to suppress it by only doing half of the tic, but eventually I could not resist it anymore. It just takes over, and it's not worth fighting it anymore because you won't win. So yeah, it's weird how tics can start, and some of them have interesting origin stories.
In the middle of church. I mean, honestly, it's just that's like the cosmic ingredients of that. Yeah. Oh my.
Funny.
So you have children, right?
Yeah, 3. Okay. You're a bitch. Good for you.
How are your kids processing
Hey,
What's going on with dad?
yeah, but it's interesting. They're very supportive, but
I'm
they have always,
sure.
but the most interesting thing is how it's taken them each different amount of time to adjust to the swearing because but my wife and I were raised to not swear, and so we of course were raising them the same way. We're no longer in that religion. We've left it, but we were raising our kids the same way, and so swearing was bad before, but now immediately, and I thank my wife for this. She's so supportive. Like literally the first day that the fuck kick started, she was on top of it. She was already talking to the kids, calling parents, calling the church to let them all know, everyone, because she defends me. She encourages me to tick freely, never suppress. And
Good.
so we talked to the kids about it, and we decided that swear words are no longer bad in our home, which is a big contradiction to what we were taught and what church taught us. So, but we changed the rules because when you treat those words as bad, that makes me feel like a bad person. No matter how
Yeah.
much you tell me it's okay, we know you have Tourette's, it's still when they still consider those to be bad words, I can't help but feel bad or like
Right.
people that way. And over time we saw that people at church did think I'm bad and they eventually kicked me out and banned me. But so anyway, we made it so the kids are free to say swear words. It just doesn't mean that the same thing in our home. Like this means I love you. but
That's awesome.
so like we took the meaning out of it. Now it's just four letters that make a sound. It doesn't
Yep.
mean anything unless you. So but it took the kids different amount of time to get used to that. One of them
Hmm.
was very quick, another medium time, and then another one took, I think, over a year before they were comfortable. They wouldn't they were okay with me saying it, but they couldn't say it themselves.
Hmm.
And that's an interesting thing we've seen with other friends and family. Like some people just can't get over it because they've been taught their whole life that it's bad and they just can't. If you ask them to do this, they wouldn't do it because they just
Yeah.
but I had no choice but to get over that quickly. And so it was fun as our kids overcame that. It was exciting for us because we saw that as a sign of they finally get it and
Yeah.
they it's not bad and it doesn't make you bad if you say those words. So we're trying to raise our kids to be non-judgmental, to love everybody, to not think someone is bad because they do something differently. And so the first time our 8-year-old said fuck, we were like such proud parents. It was seriously one of the most proud moments because it sounds silly, but like that's when we knew he understood. He like
Yeah.
that's his way of supporting and showing me that he cares and he supports me. So like it's silly for anyone coming from a church background, but it was a proud moment when our kids learned to swear.
Oh, I can appreciate that so much. I was also raised where like you just do not say certain things. I was raised in a
yeah,
very strict religious environment.
yeah, me
And
too.
it took me a very long time, well into adulthood. My kids were mostly adults. I have three as well, to
Yeah.
start to give myself permission to let
Mm-hmm.
go of things that weren't serving me or them.
Yes.
And to stop feeling like I was bad. The all of that
Mm-hmm.
religious training. And this is not an attempt to say anything about anybody's faith.
Mm-hmm.
People should
Yeah.
believe what they want to believe. They should operate the way they feel right. But for me and for my family, uh, we're all the children and I are all neurodivergent. Uh, we have things that we need to be able to be out in the world. Um, I'm I'm learning to wear headphones and my sunglasses. And somebody thought I was blind the other day because I was in a car accident. Well, a car hit me a year ago, and I walk with a balance stick now because I'm too unsteady on my feet. But I wear my sunglasses a lot because of the sensory challenges, and so I'll wear them indoors. And so sunglasses plus stick, people think I'm blind.
Yeah, but nice. But
Um, so
but
there's the
but
things that we need to do to
but
just be in the
hey,
world, and it's not always successful. Um, those grocery store
hey,
trips.
mm,
There's so much going on.
but
There's so much.
yeah,
Uh, the lights are
but
wrong, and the sounds are wrong, and there are people
but
everywhere, and
the
um,
visual stimuli, you
yeah,
literally have thousands of objects passing by your view at every minute, and you're like, yeah,
yeah, it's so
but
much,
me,
and
but me, but me,
I
but
love
me,
food,
hey,
so I've tried to
but
love grocery shopping,
hey,
and it
uh,
took
but
me
hey,
like years to understand I actually don't
but
love grocery
hey,
shopping the way I thought I did, because there's so much about it that's overwhelming and challenging.
but me, hey,
I have to, there are times where I have to write out loud so everybody can hear me, walk through the grocery store, you're okay, you're okay, you're okay, you're okay.
but
Because
me,
otherwise,
but
I also need to like close my eyes, cover my ears, and ball up in the corner.
but me,
Um,
okay,
if I have a meltdown, my
mm-hmm,
severe meltdowns come with banging myself in the head,
mm-hmm,
like
but but
crazy. It's very scary to see. It's
wow,
scary
but
to experience.
yeah, but
Um, I
hey,
can't do that out in public because authorities will take over my life,
yeah, but
right? If I show
but
that out in public, I'm in danger
but
of lots
yeah,
of things.
mm-hmm,
So,
but
no, I don't have the
wow,
same condition. I don't have the same situation as you, but I do feel like my heart can be with you
but
because I
hey,
have situations that can be very complicated for me out in the world.
but
I
yeah,
have situational
but
mutism. If I
hey,
get too stressed, I can't talk
but
to you.
can't talk,
And
but
I was in an emergency room. I was literally passing away from anemia that we didn't know I had, and I
wow,
became
but
situationally mute. And the attending nurse got angry with me and started yelling at me. And let me tell you,
wow, but
yelling at me does not help me talk.
didn't help the situation, but wow, but
Right?
hey,
So
gosh, but
I can be in
hey,
dangerous situations because of who I am. And who you are puts you in, at best,
but hey,
criticism's way, right?
but
At best,
but
people are going to be critical,
but
let
yeah, but
alone say the
hey,
wrong thing to the wrong person. How concerned are you when you go out into the world that somebody's going to decide
but
you're dangerous, you need to leave?
but
Like, you got kicked out of your
but
church. That's a
but
place where you should be loved no matter what,
but yeah,
and
but
regular
but
life
but
doesn't come with those rules.
but yeah. So the reason my doctors and everyone put me on disability, I had to get out of work. But I went on short-term disability to get out of work, and but it was because of the fear of sexual harassment claims, that kind of thing. Like, what could people accuse me of? But so that's why we took me out of there. And I thought the one place I'd be safe is at church, but it turns out
Yeah.
exactly what we feared would happen at work is what happened at church.
Yeah.
Someone misunderstands Tourette's. They felt threatened by me. They thought that I would do something inappropriate to them. So they wanted me out. So they told the leaders, I won't be here if he's here. And so when that didn't work, she then started making up lies about me and my wife. But oops, my watch. But she started making up lies about my wife and I, making false accusations to try to make me as some kind of predator or threat. And they believed her lies, and it just escalated over many months to where they sent an official letter banning me and threatening to have police escort me off property if I go in there. So I'm like literally banned, not allowed even in the building unless there's a chaperone. And then I'm not even allowed ever in the chapel under any circumstance. I'm just banned. I was a faithful, loyal member, contributing so much of my life to it for 35, 36 years, and then just completely turned against me. So I don't go there anymore. Fuck them. They're a bitch. Good for them. Okay.
Yeah, we can agree with your ticks right now, right?
Yeah, fuck me. Yeah. So, but anyway, but so to go back to what you were asking, but that's the fear, is that people are gonna accuse me of something, and it's happened already. So I know a little bit of what that feels like, and it's awful. So I'm always scared. I'm scared going anywhere because, but me, I like my brain. When you have corporate phenomena, it's different from normal tics. Normal tics are always just completely random, make no sense. But corporate phenomena causes your brain to analyze a situation, and it comes up with what is one of the things I could possibly do right now, and it makes you say that or do that. Um, so for example, if I see a man that looks like he could be married, I will say something like, I fuck your wife while you're at work, that sort of thing. Who knows how they could react to that?
Right.
I don't know how they could react, but it scares me to think about it. But I would
Right.
say something offensive to someone who is overweight or elderly or a police officer, whatever they may be. It's usually the people I have the most respect for, which
Yeah.
is mostly women, I have a high respect for, because my mom died when I was 18, and the other women in my life then filled that gap and just became so special to me, the role that women play in my life. And so because they're the most people I respect the most, that's who my brain targets the most with my tics. So
Hmm.
most of my sexual and inappropriate towards women, but also, like I said, police, disabled, overweight, whatever it is, or different nationality.
Oh, damn.
The My tics are
Oh God.
visually,
You're just
but but
like
but
all of
but
the
but
things that could get
but
you in trouble. Your
yeah,
brain has decided to just put out there in the universe.
uh-huh,
Like let's just
yeah,
test all of the humans in my
but
area.
yeah. So I always try to explain to people that it's so much worse in real life than on my videos, because people just see more of the normal Tourette's tics that are just random. Because on my
Right.
videos, it's just the normal ones you're seeing. And even video chat, I found that it's not quite the same as real life. Sometimes my tics do say, I want to suck on your asshole, okay? Like that, but it's much worse in real life. Like
Yeah.
the visual, seeing a real person right there, my tics go crazy and just say awful things that are to get to give people the wrong idea. So that's why I'm raising awareness, so people
Yeah.
understand it. It's not it's not my true thoughts. It's usually the opposite, because my brain has this need for some reason to make people uncomfortable. That's the only way for me to feel comfortable, is to make others uncomfortable, or to make myself uncomfortable. Honestly, that's what I've
Yeah.
been as recently, is maybe it's not actually trying to make you uncomfortable, it's just my brain trying to make me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And the way to do that is to say something bad to you. But so it's weird, but I'm still learning all about it. I found a good scientific article recently that talks about it and is very relatable. It's like the first thing that I've read that really, it feels like it's talking about me. So I'm
Oh,
studying that and trying to learn more. I'm learning some new terms that could be related to my condition. I'll be
if
discussing it with my doctors. But
if you're willing, I would love to have that link, and maybe
yeah,
we can put it
but
attached to this video
but
so that other people can read it if they want to.
yeah, I
Um,
can. But okay,
Justin, we're coming up on an hour together, and I'm pretty sure my
yeah,
puppy has to tinkle. So,
no problem. But
um, if
but
if there was a thing that, like a thing that you really want people to take away from our discussion today,
okay,
if you
but
can think of it, what might that be?
um, well, I guess two separate things is, one is just my biggest goal is to raise awareness about this side of Tourette's, the vulgar, socially inappropriate side,
Mm-hmm.
because it's talked about very much. So I want people to know that it's real. It does affect people in a big way. And the best way you can help someone like me with Tourette's is simply just knowing a little bit about it. So if you've watched this video, that's all you need, is you now know enough about it that you can make the world a better place by, if you come across someone like me, you can just saying to me, oh, I know someone with Tourette's, or I watched this video of people with Tourette's, and I get it. You can tick around me. That's all it takes. Like, if someone says you can tick around me, I understand. My stress level goes from here to here instantly, just knowing that someone in the room understands.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing I hope people learn, is just knowing a little bit about it and making sure I can tick freely around you. That's all it takes to make me feel safe. So, but
That's
yeah, I guess
awesome.
that's the thing that I would want people to take away. But okay.
Well,
Yeah,
Justin,
but
you've been amazing. Thank you so much for sharing yourself and your journey. I hope we can do this again. I really enjoyed our
yeah, but
conversation.
yeah, I would love to. If you have more questions, there's definitely more that could be talked about. So, but
That's
yeah,
great.
sure, we could do it again. But
All right.
hey,
Very good. All right, your video has frozen, so
you're
I'm
frozen. I don't know if
gonna
you can
say
still hear,
goodbye
but
and
okay,
thank you so much.
but okay.